If you've been watching the news at all lately, you've been inundated with stories about the Department of Government Efficiency reducing the federal workforce. And in my previous video, I was talking about whether or not that was going to crash the Maryland housing market. And in that video, we talked about the current numbers and what was going on and how we really didn't see a huge change just yet. But in the recent numbers on Redfin, I am seeing some major changes in the housing market here in Maryland. So I'm making this video earlier than expected to bring you all of the data that you should be considering whether or not you live here already or considering a move here. So let's just dive right into it. And before we jump over to my desktop here, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss all of these updates. I'm going to be doing them more frequently than I previously mentioned because this is a rapidly changing market and I honestly was not expecting to see this so soon. So hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of those videos. Now let's jump over to my desktop and look at the data. All right, so you know that I like using the Redfin weekly housing market data. I love that it goes week by week. And what I told you last time was that if I see a change, a break from those seasonal trends, I was going to bring that to you. And so this is not going to be scripted. We're just going to go through the data because I saw it and I just thought you need to know about it right away. So let me minimize myself out of the way here and let's dive in. So let's start with what's going on in the rest of the country, right? So this is every metro in the US, what's happening. We're in new listings, okay? Year over year, new listings are up 7.5% year over year across the country. Not too crazy, still within those seasonal trends that you can see from the past 3 years, okay? And then active listings, I should say, were up in the country 11.34%. So that means that there are not as many people buying in the market right now that we'd expect because normally that inventory should start to drop and we're not seeing that nationally. Now, let's go back to new listings and let's see what's going on in the DC metro because all the news reports are saying that this market is crashing. And while I don't think it's crashing yet, I think there are some big changes. And the first thing we're gonna go kind of wide here with the DC metro and then go in narrow with specific areas and counties. So DC metro area, new listings are up 18% year over year. I think that's significant. When we were talking last, I think we were 10. Maybe it wasn't 15, so it was probably 10%. So that's a big difference. I'm starting to see us break away from the seasonal trend. Like I said, would be that kind of warning signal of, hey, something's changing, okay? It doesn't mean it's bad for everybody, but there's a change, okay? Then we'll go over to active listings. We are up 13.9% year over year. Okay, when we talked last, it was probably 11 down here, okay? So again, not a huge breakaway like new listings, but active listings are changing. Now, what we talked about last time was the share of federal workers per county and why that's important. So let's talk about that really quick, about the share of federal workers per county. Now, this is the map that we talked about, and the darker the green is, the more federal workers per 1,000 workers, okay? 89 per 1,000 workers in St. Mary's County. We talked about this. There are news articles about how St. Mary's County could be in big trouble, right? Because they have 89 per 1,000, where a place like Montgomery County has 46 per 1,000. But what we mentioned in the last video, I should say, is that that doesn't matter as much as what their mission set is. The reason that you see that in St. Mary's County is because the population is lower, and so much of that support is directly at the military base. So we're not seeing as many cuts that are directly supporting the military. Okay, now Montgomery County, biotech, a lot of places like NIH, a lot of the government organizations and agencies that are targeted by DOGE right now are in Montgomery County. So that's a much more important county to watch. And let me show you why it matters. So let's switch over to county here. And I want to start with St. Mary's so we can see what's happening in their market. Let's go to new listings. Okay. Wow. They're only up 0.8% year over year. Okay. We don't see any warning signs whatsoever in St. Mary's County that people are selling their homes due to this, okay? Even though they have the highest share per 1,000 of federal workers. So that's really important to note. That's why we have to take the news articles with a grain of salt, because the context matters. Who the federal workers actually work for matters, okay? Let's just go over to, let's go to median sales price so we can see what's happening. They have a very choppy market. When you see a lot of this on the Redfin data, it means there's not a lot of data, so it's not as smooth looking in the seasonal trends, but they're still up 9% year over year. That is amazing, okay? Clearly their market is not in too much trouble in St. Mary's County, and active listings are actually down. That means people are buying up these homes. Down 8.61% in active listings. So that's really important to take into consideration. Now, let's go over to Montgomery County, where there are over 40,000, so 48,000 federal jobs that are actually recorded. If they work for the CIA, NSA, DIA, you're not going to know about those jobs. But 48,000 plus that are reported. Okay, let's go over to see what's going on in Montgomery County here. I think we're going to be surprised by this. So, Montgomery County, new listings. Okay, up 11.2%. We're still not above 2022, but that's a big deal. Okay, new listings are up. Now let's look at the active listings. Now we're breaking away from seasonal trends. This is what I wanted to talk about. 23.98%, almost 24% up. It's up that much year over year in active listings. What does that mean? That people are not buying the homes. The market is not heating up as much as it normally would be. Now, we can also see this over in months of supply. Even though it's named months of supply, they actually list it in weeks of supply. But we can clearly see the break from seasonal trends in the supply in the market. Montgomery County is absolutely feeling the effects of this, in my opinion. So this is something to consider. Now, how long this will last, whether it's just a shockwave in the beginning, is still yet to be seen. But again, I told you I'd bring you this data as soon as I saw the reverse in trends. And look, right since that last time we spoke right here, I completely see that reversal in the trend. You can see it clearly, okay? Now, other counties I think you're going to see something similar to this in are PG, or Prince George's if you're not from the area, in Anne Arundel County, because they have a large share of these federal workers as well that move there. So let's go check out Prince George's County. This is a county that's just to the east of Washington, D.C., and when we look at this, they have, oh, here you go, 32 federal workers per 1,000. That is, I think, the third largest share outside of St. Mary's. So, because we're kind of taking St. Mary's out of the equation here. So that's a lot of people, 30,000 plus total federal jobs that we know about, okay? And we see the same thing. We see the trend reversal. We are not following seasonal trends where inventory should be going down right now because buyers should be hitting the market. The rates are not skyrocketing right now. There's no crazy change. We should see a heating up of the market, especially now that it's gotten warm in Maryland, warmer days. We should see that, and we don't, okay? Now let's go over to Anne Arundel, which is another big federal government worker county. Not as bad, but still it looks like a small trend reversal here, or trend change here. So that's important to note. Now, we didn't talk about the median sales price, so let's dive into that real quick so we can see what's happening in these areas. And actually, we'll cover Frederick County too, because we didn't cover them. So we're seeing that median sales price is still up regardless in these counties. It's such an interesting dynamic because if you have the right house and you price it well, you could still sell for top dollar and prices are still going up. But let's check Montgomery County. I want to see if they're stagnating at all in their median sales price. Nope. Still up. It's crazy. Still up 8% year over year. So what is this telling us? There's more houses hitting the market. Prices are still going up, the median sales price at least. Now, one thing to consider is that median sales price is about a month behind when they went under contract on that price. So when we see, new listings are well ahead of this data of median sales price. So in a month, we could see that the median sales price does taper off. We'll see. If it follows seasonal trends, we should see it go up. So we still have some time left. Once we get through May and June, we're really going to have the full picture of the spring market. Obviously, we don't have that yet, but we're going to see. We're going to see what's going to happen here. So let's go over to Prince George's to see what's happening with their median sales price. Okay, median sales price is 1% up year over year. They're seeing some trouble here with their prices holding. And then Anne Arundel, can't remember if we just went over that one, but they're up 5%. Okay, now let's talk about Frederick because that's one of my favorite markets. Obviously, if you watch my channel, that's Virginia. All right, median sales price in Frederick County up 8% year over year. Not surprised. So many people leaving the Frederick or DC area, Montgomery County area for more affordable housing are going there. Okay. We also have a smaller share of federal workers, only 16 per 1,000. So less of an impact there. A lot of people do still work there. If you comparatively, a lot of people that reach out to me to move to Frederick do work in some capacity for the federal government, but just not as many clearly. So the market's holding strong with median sales price. New listings, We're up 17.5%. That is actually a lot of new listings in this last couple weeks. And let's look at active listings to see if we match Montgomery County's area. Not yet. We're still at 13.47% here. Last we talked, it was probably around 7. So we are seeing that break away from the seasonal trend. Now, do we consolidate on the next report? I don't know. That's a long way to go to consolidate with that seasonal trend. We'll see. But what I wanted to do with this video was to show you how the different areas are being impacted by Doge and the federal cuts. And now this market is so segmented. So I think this data is absolutely crucial to talk about. So after talking about all of this data, you're probably wondering, well, should I buy a house right now? Should I sell in Maryland? What should I really do? And what I'll say is this is the first time in a long time that we've seen such segregation in county markets here in Maryland. So everything is going to be county and area specific. So if you are considering whether or not to make a move to Maryland, to a specific area, absolutely reach out to me. That is what I'm here for. We'll talk about the specifics of the community you're looking at. This is just an overview of the general counties and regions that we should be considering, but each neighborhood's different. We have some houses selling in a day and some houses selling in 30 days here. And it's really important to work with a professional who understands that market. And if you're considering selling, and if you're selling a property, it's even more important to reach out because I'm going to let you know whether or not it's worth it and you're going to get the return on investment you were hoping for, and whether your price point that you're thinking about is actually what you should be listing at. So again, go into the description in the link below and schedule a one-on-one call with me. That's exactly what I'm here for, to help you determine the best move for you right now. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all my videos about moving to Maryland.